The calm rhythm of a typical morning in K-biz shattered like fragile glass the moment a single headline slipped into the world. Lee Dong-wook has secretly tied the knot. No smoke, no warning. No subtle clue to soften the blow, just a lightning strike across the entire entertainment industry. Within minutes, social media ignited. Comment sections flooded like tidal waves. Entertainment reporters scrambled as if someone had pulled the fire alarm on the entire country. And yet, the greatest shock was not the wedding itself. The deafening silence around the bride. A mystery woman. A name withheld from even the most relentless paparazzi. Fans searched restlessly across every platform, scrolling so fast their fingers blurred, trying to piece together the identity of the woman who had captured the heart of one of Korea's most beloved stars. At the center of the storm, Lee Dong-wook remained invisible. No statement, no photo, no confirmation. Only rumors, whispers. Few trembling words from a close acquaintance who claimed, voice quivering, that the wedding was beautiful beyond imagination. The industry froze. How could something this monumental be hidden from thousands of eyes that watched his every move? How could a man so visible, so adored, slip through the cracks of the public gaze and exchange vows without a single camera catching him? It felt unreal. Like a misplaced plot twist from a romantic drama leaking into real life. And yet, everyone sensed it. This story was deeper, quieter, and far more romantic than anyone had guessed. Months before the news exploded, something in Dong-wook had quietly shifted. Fans noticed before the media did. The way they always do, through the smallest threads of change. His smile, once effortless in public, now carried a softness that felt like it was being shared with someone unseen. He often stared into the distance during fan meets, eyes glowing with a warmth unfamiliar even to his most loyal followers. His fashion evolved subtly, richer textures, colors that embraced nostalgia, silhouettes that suggested a man who felt grounded in something deeply personal. There were rumors too, a discreet silver ring on his finger during a drama rehearsal, a half-hidden bouquet of white freesias he carried into his van, mysterious weekend disappearances that even fans tracking his schedules could not explain. These moments were like breadcrumbs leading to truth no one dared assume. But no one imagined it would be something this big, this intimate, this life-changing. Only a handful of people knew what was about to unfold on an overcast weekend in Jeju Island. Far from the flashing lights of Seoul, nestled between cliffs shaped by centuries of wind, stood a private villa overlooking endless horizons of blue and silver. Candles lined the pathways like fallen stars guiding loved ones into a scene so delicate it felt almost sacred. The ceremony was a whispered secret shared only among a close circle, each guest arriving quietly under dusk's gentle blanket. Inside, the villa was transformed into a dreamy canvas of muted ivory and soft pastel blossoms. The air smelled faintly of orange blossom, sea salt, and something sweeter, anticipation. The ceremony was set to begin at sunset. As the last strands of daylight melted into the sea, fell over the courtyard. Guests exchanged glances, nervous and excited, trying to absorb the surreal reality that the man they had known for years, one of the brightest stars of the Hallyu wave, was about to enter a new chapter of his life in the most intimate way possible. Yet even among them persisted, who is the bride? Why is she hidden? Is everything we thought we knew about his private life wrong? Then, just before the pianist touched the first key, movement stirred at the top of the staircase. A figure appeared, graceful, slender, in flowing white. A delicate veil draped her face, translucent like morning dew. For a moment, the entire world halted. Even the waves seemed to soften their crash, as if nature itself was holding its breath. She descended slowly, each step measured and ethereal, as though she were floating rather than walking. No one dared to blink. The silence was mesmerizing, filled with the kind of magic that exists only once in a lifetime. Lee Dong-wook stood waiting with an expression that no camera had ever captured before, devotion, or tenderness all woven together with a trembling joy. When she reached him, he extended his hand, and she placed her fingers gently into his, her touch bringing a visible shiver through him. Then came the moment that shattered every last doubt, every rumor, every frantic guesswork outside those villa walls. The bride lifted the veil, and there she was. I'm Soo-young, the pure, luminous beauty of Korean cinema. A woman known for her timeless softness, her graceful vulnerability, her quiet strength that lit screens for 2 decades. Gasps echoed through the courtyard. Several guests covered their mouths, eyes wide with disbelief. It wasn't that the pairing seemed mismatched, it was that it was so impossibly perfect that no one dared imagine it. The chemistry between them was instant, palpable, most visible in the golden glow of candlelight. Young's eyes sparkled, not with nervousness, but with a serene happiness that seemed to bloom from deep within her chest. Dong-wook looked at her as if she were the only person left on earth. Felt less like a secret wedding and more like the ending scene of a romance film that audiences never got to see. Two souls standing before each other after years of missed timing, shared silence, and unspoken devotion. Ceremony continued. One question lingered in every mind: how did this love story begin? How did two of Korea's most private, dramatic stars find their way to each other? The answer, as it turned out, was tucked away in a quiet corner of the past. Even behind camera flashes and schedules so tight that fate itself had to slip through unnoticed. Their first meeting had been 6 years earlier during a collaborative commercial shoot, a simple day. Unremarkable except for the way he looked at her. She had walked onto the set wearing a soft cream blouse, her hair tucked behind her ear, her smile gentle but reserved. The room shifted the moment she arrived. Dong-wook, usually composed, found himself glancing at her even when he wasn't supposed to. She radiated a warmth that pulled him in without effort. Later confessed to a friend that it felt like spring had walked into the room, quiet, understated, but impossible to ignore. He spoke only briefly that day, exchanging polite greetings, sharing a laugh over a prop malfunction. The impact lingered. Something delicate had begun weaving between them. Neither had the courage, or the timing, to acknowledge it. They parted ways with a sense of unfinished meaning. Invisible thread connecting them even as their schedules pulled them to opposite corners of the world. 2 years later, fate intervened. It was an international film festival. Amid red carpets and dazzling floodlights, their paths crossed again. This time, their eyes didn't merely brush past each other. They collided, deep, searching, stunned. In that brief moment, long before they spoke, they knew. Something had returned. Something had been waiting. Dong-wook approached her first, his voice steady but his heart racing. Young greeted him with the same gentle smile that had haunted him for years. But now there was a new softness in her gaze, an openness, a quiet invitation. They talked for nearly an hour. Previous to cameras, reporters, and assistants hovering nearby. It was the kind of conversation that felt like a continuation rather than a beginning. As if they were picking up where they left off in a previous lifetime. Neither of them knew it then. That chance encounter was the birth of a love that would grow in silence, nurture itself in shadows, and eventually blossom into the secret wedding that stunned an entire nation. And this was only the beginning. The story that left K-biz breathless did not begin with fireworks, scandals, the usual whirlwind romances that live and die under camera flashes. It began quietly, almost timidly, on the same night they reunited in Busan. After the film festival ended, Dong-wook messaged her, unsure if he was crossing an invisible line. "It was nice seeing you today. I hope you got home safely." A simple text. Polite enough to dismiss. Meaningful enough that she didn't. Soo-young replied with a warmth that slipped past his defenses before he could build them. One message became two, two became hours. Hours became nights filled with conversations that stretched until dawn. Their relationship grew the way winter turns into spring, subtly, slowly, silently. They met in tucked-away cafes where the aroma of roasted beans wrapped around them like a secret shelter. They walked along the quieter paths of Sichuan. The world felt was just for them. They shared stories of loneliness, of burdens that came with fame, of dreams they never dared to say aloud. Love did not arrive with a bang, it settled in gently. Morning light seeping through thin curtains. For 3 years, they protected that love like something fragile and precious. They learned to read each other's silences. Learned to disappear when needed. To slip through the public eye like two ghosts determined to keep their world intact. Their dates were unassuming yet intimate, buying flowers at dawn, sharing hot tea on cold nights, watching classic films on her sofa while rain tapped against the windows. To outsiders, these moments meant nothing. To them, meant everything. But even the gentlest love faces storms. There were nights when they questioned whether their relationship could survive the spotlight. Nights when her drama controversies flared or his filming schedule swallowed him whole. leaving them oceans apart in the same city. Nights when they feared that revealing their love would cost them careers they had built over decades. One evening, after a particularly harsh rumor about him spread online, Soo-young cupped his face gently and whispered, "You don't have to face this alone anymore." It was the first time she allowed her vulnerability to break through her poise. And it was the moment he realized he did not want a life that didn't include her. So when autumn arrived with its golden leaves and wind that carried the scent of endings and beginnings, Dong-wook made his decision. Arranged a quiet dinner in a small garden restaurant they both adored. Lanterns swayed above them, casting warm light on her face. Fingers trembled beneath the table as he reached for the velvet box hidden in his coat. When he finally spoke, his voice cracked, not out of fear, but from the overwhelming certainty of it all. "I don't want to walk ahead of you. I don't want to walk behind you. I want to walk beside you, for the rest of my life." Soo-young's eyes filled instantly. She didn't even wait for him to open the box before whispering yes. Their wedding, weeks later in Jeju. Not just a ceremony. It was the crystallization of years of quiet devotion, two souls who had done everything to love gently in a world that demanded noise. When they exchanged vows, voices trembled with the weight of everything they had endured. Everything they protected. Everything they promised to build together. Yet, the world found out anyway. Love that sincere cannot stay hidden forever. When the news broke, late, unplanned, palpable, K-biz shook. Shock turned into disbelief. Disbelief into roaring conversation. Something unexpected happened. Instead of a criticism or resentment, waves of warm blessings poured in. Fans reminisced about their past works, their unmatched grace, their quiet strength. Industry insiders whispered, almost reverently, they deserve this happiness. Because deep down, everyone knew, this was not a scandal. Love story. The kind that rarely survives in entertainment. The kind that feels like destiny written across years of mistiming and gentle longing. In the end, Lee Dong-wook and Soo-young did not just marry in secret, they proved that love, when tended with patience and courage, even in the shadows, their story, hidden like a pressed flower between old pages, opened itself to the world, soft, beautiful, fragile, and enduring. A real-life Korean romance. Quiet yet powerful. A reminder that some love stories don't need the world's permission to be extraordinary.